In the headlines, relatives of Kaduna-Abuja train attack cry out as terrorists threaten to kill victims in 7 days. President Muhammadu Buhari warns perpetrators of wild killings in Southeast to be ready for tough response. Gunmen invade Catholic Church in Katsina, abduct 2 priests. And on the foreign scene, at least 22 killed in the latest police raid on Rio Favela in Brazil. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. A new video of some passengers abducted by gunmen during the Abuja-Kaduna train attack has been released. In the short clip, 6 passengers, including a Pakistani, were seen sitting and kneeling in front of the camera with a gun-wielding man in a green balaclava marshalling them. Some of the victims who spoke appealed to the federal government to heed the demands of their abductors to ensure their release. Mohammed, the Pakistani, urged both the Nigerian government and the authorities of his home country to come to the victims' aid. An unnamed victim in hijab reiterated the plea amid tears, adding that she is in captivity alongside her family. Recent reports said the abductors have threatened to start killing hostages in 7 days if their demands are not met. The terrorists demanded the release of their children, who they said are in the custody of the Nigerian army.
I'm calling on the government of Kaduna State, the federal government of Nigeria, and the entire human rights group to assist us and ensure that the demands of our abductors are met. The kidnappers said unless their demands are met, nobody would leave alive. They accused the government of not fulfilling its promises, and they said some of their children have been abducted by the Nigerian army. They are demanding that they are released within 5 days before they would consider any passenger. My name is Mariama Abubakar. I was kidnapped on the train from Abuja to Kaduna. We're appealing to everybody that is in the position to please come to our aid and give our abductors their demands so that they can let us go. I am here with my entire family.
Meanwhile, families of the abducted passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack have appealed to the government to release the children of the abductors of their relatives from detention so that the terrorists can in turn release the passengers in captivity. In a video released by the abductors, government has been given a 7-day ultimatum to release their children or the 62 passengers will be killed. At a press briefing Wednesday morning, the relatives of the victims said they are ready to take the children of the terrorists to the forest only if government can do the needful to save their loved ones.
And that demand for us now, we are actually taking it up on us. The government is holding 8 of their children. 8 of their children. Absolutely, there is simply no reason why those children should not be released for our 62 loved ones to be released. I mean, for me now, and for us, it's no more 62 of our loved ones. It's now 62 plus 8. So we are now fighting for 70 because it cannot be justified why the government is holding 8 children. Government should please release these 8 children back to those that abducted our loved ones.
And 4 persons, including 2 Catholic priests, have been abducted by gunmen in Kafur local government area of Katsina State, northwest Nigeria. The clergymen are the Maikambu parish priest, Father Stephen Ojakpa, and Father Oliver, along with 2 of their visitors. Terrorists invaded St. Patrick Catholic Church at Gidam Maikambu at about 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Although police authorities in the state are yet to confirm the incident, residents say the gunmen stormed the community in their numbers, but this time without motorcycles. The police spokesman, SP Gambo Isa, said the command has not received any report regarding the incident. He, however, assured that details of the incident will be communicated soon. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has warned those killing innocent people in the southeast to expect a tough response from security forces. He condemned the viral videos circulating of innocent people being killed, describing it as wild and barbarous. The presidency also cautioned against the indiscriminate sharing of posts that can incite violence on social media. President Buhari's response comes a few days after gunmen killed at least 12 people, including a pregnant woman and her 4 children in Anambra State. A community leader said the pregnant woman and her children were returning home on a motorcycle taxi when gunmen ambushed them in the Orumba area of the state. The same situation occurred after gunmen beheaded a lawmaker in the state, Okechukwu Okoye. The pregnant woman killed alongside her 4 children have been buried in Anambra State. Militants of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, gunned them down at Isulo, Orumba North local government area of the state on Sunday. Sariki Kabiru Bakari, leader of the Hausa community in Orumba South of Anambra, told Daily Trust in an interview that the corpses of the victims were recovered on Tuesday evening. He, however, said the plan to take them to their hometown in Adama for burial was cancelled because the corpses were not taken care of in the mortuary and could not withstand the travel to the north. Bakari added that security personnel had been deployed to the area, adding that the Anambra State Police Commissioner has visited and assured them bringing the perpetrators to book. Former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri, has lost his bid to represent Nasarawa South Senatorial District at the National Assembly. Abubakar Abdullahi reports that the former DG, NOA, and former House of Representatives member Mohammed Onao defeated the ex-DG at the just concluded People's Democratic Senatorial Primary held in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi filed in this report as presented from our studio. This is the ex-Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri's first shot at the senatorial district election, which he lost to Mohammed Onao, who served as Nasarawa State House of Assembly Speaker from 2003 to 2007, and 2 terms House of Representatives member representing Awe Doma, Kiana constituency from 2011 to 2019. In the keenly contested race, Onao scored 88 votes, while Omeri garnered 76 votes, as declared by the returning officer, Tongi To Ayin. Mohammed Onao described the process as a family affair and called on his co-contestant to work together for the success of the party. Similarly, Umar Galadima, who polled 152 votes, defeated the trio of Bala Ahmed Aliyu, Angama Webi, and Averson Samuel to emerge the PDP Nasarawa North senatorial candidate, while Nathaniel Aboki clinched the party ticket in Nasarawa North. Also, the PDP delegates in Nasarawa State have elected 5 House of Representatives and 24 House of Assembly members through primary elections at different designated centers. A female House of Representatives aspirant for Lafia Obi constituency in Nasarawa State, Mariam Musa Mohammed, has appealed to delegates to vote for her in the forthcoming primary. Mariam Musa Mohammed, who is contesting the seat under the platform of the All Progressive Congress, said supporting her ambition will boost the confidence of other women to participate in politics. The Lafia Obi federal constituency aspirant, who promised to ensure that her constituents enjoy the dividends of democracy if she emerges victorious in the primaries and the general election in 2023, said supporting her aspiration would ensure gender balance in governance, as there were few elected female councillors in Nasarawa State.
And my reason for running for this office is because I want to try to make a difference to what I have so far seen happening in my community. We have voted for people, we have stood our grounds and voted for people, but we haven't seen much changes being done in our communities. So with that, I got inspired to come and run for this office. I want to run for this office because I want to involve women in our policies. I want to fight for the women's rights. I want to fight for child rights. I want to involve or include the disabled. And I also want to remember to put the girl-child education first. They have been left behind for so long, and I think that it's time to involve them. The youth are not exempted, because the youth are being put aside. And being a youth myself, I want to run for this office to put them in what we're doing.
Meanwhile, 6 aspirants will slug it out on Thursday at the primary to decide who will fly the flag of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Gombe State. The aspirants are Jamilu Isiaku Gwamna, Saddauna Gwambi, former CEO SunTrust Bank, Jubril Lambardi, Air Vice Marshal Shehu Adamu Fura, retired, former Minister of State for Health, Dr. Abubakar Ali Gombi. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Niger Delta, Dr. Babayo Ardu, and former MD, FMB Alhaji Ya'u Gimba, chairman of the Governorship Primary Election Committee, Mike Ehiadome, said that 328 delegates have been accredited to vote in the election. Any of the aspirants who emerges will face candidates of the All Progressive Congress who will be the incumbent governor in Waiha in the 2023 elections. And still talking politics, the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, has kicked against micro-zoning the presidential ticket to the southeast by the ruling All Progressives Congress. Akpabio, who was in Yola to canvass APC delegates' vote ahead of the party's presidential primary, insisted that competence should not be jettisoned for any reason during the primary. He said he is one of the Nigerians who believe in the unity of the country, asserting that voting him will end insecurity in the country. He added that he has helped many northerners through empowerment programs, including sponsoring some for foreign studies. The former governor urged the delegates to consider national unity during the presidential nomination of the party. The state APC chairman and other speakers acknowledged his contributions to nation building.
Inshallah, 2023, I'll be your president. But I need your votes, I need your support, I need your prayers. We must pray for this country that we don't make mistakes in 2023. Nigeria has never really been for sale. Nigeria has never really been for sale. So anybody who thinks he can buy Nigeria, that's his own. I came to appeal to you, to give me the opportunity to work with you, to turn things around, to make our women to go back to the farms, to put our children back to work, to bring back the cotton factories that we used to have, to reactivate the industries, and then we'll go back and also reactivate the mining sector. And then, of course, crude oil is diminishing. Then we'll go into the gas sector. For me, those three major items, when you look at the first issue is security, the second one is the issue of what? National unity and integration, which I represent.
We are only the APC. It's a family issue. And, it is God who knows who's going to be president of Nigeria, not any other person. As far as I'm concerned, as a leader of the APC in this state, we have to discuss with the national delegates, and I'm sure at the convention, then we'll be able to move forward.
Meanwhile, the three-man ad hoc Congress in Anambra has experienced another setback as the panel supervising Anambra North and South senatorial zones failed to appear in time to conduct the elections. The election, which has been postponed in the past due to internal party crisis, was scheduled to hold on Tuesday. But as at 5 p.m., the panel supervising the Congress was yet to arrive. The committee in charge of Anambra Central was present and conducted the Congress at the different wards in the senatorial district, but the Congresses for the South and Northern zones did not hold. Some aspirants expressed disappointment with the failure of the exercise, which they said hampers the progress of the party in the state. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Still to come on the news, how Sokoto government supports fish farmers. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to them continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the one they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempt were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There is a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's take a look at our top stories. Relatives of Kaduna Abuja train attack cry out as terrorists threaten to kill victims in 7 days. And President Muhammadu Buhari warns perpetrators of wild killings in Southeast to be ready for a tough response. And now moving on to other news, the federal government says it will spend 999 million naira daily to feed approximately 10 million pupils in the National Homegrown School Feeding Program nationwide. The team lead of the program, Aishat Digil, revealed this Tuesday in Abuja at a stakeholders meeting on disbursement modalities for the review of the cost of feeding. She said the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Saidia Umar Farouk, had got the approval to spend 100 naira per person daily for the feeding program. She said 9,990,862 pupils from primary 1 to 3 will now be fed with 100 naira daily for 20 days in a month, amounting to 999,886,200 daily. She said the program will work to eliminate poor implementation practices. Now, according to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, roughly 32% of world fish stocks are overexploited, depleted, or recovering and need urgent rebuilding. In Sokoto State, government says it is working to change the narrative by supporting fish farmers to enhance productivity as part of the government state visionary fisheries development program. Idris Jibril, who visited some of the water bodies and fish farms, now reports.
Fish farming is a form of agriculture in which fish are raised in enclosures to be sold as food. In Sokoto State, it is the fastest growing area of animal food production.
In the areas of fisheries development, this is an area that has been neglected before. But as I'm telling you now, the state government is well repositioning that sector. We have realized that our fishermen depend naturally on the natural fish they find in these waters. And these are being depleted. So the state government decided to restock these rivers and lakes.
Across the state, water bodies are being restocked with over 1 million high premium fish, in addition to the distribution of fishing boats to fishermen as part of efforts to enhance productivity.
The fish actually will have two subcomponents. We have artisanal and we have the culture fisheries. When I say artisanal, it means just fishing on the river. One other culture, it means fish farming. So there are some understanding or some cooperation between our ministry and this category of farmers and the fishermen.
To fully sustain the program, fish farmers across the state are also being encouraged to grow further in their businesses by providing them with loans and other professional advice on how to effectively manage their farms.
Prior to this moment, we had very few, 2 or 3 fish farms in the state. It's now over 1,000. So you can imagine the phenomenal increase from 3 or 4 to about 1,000. Farms, yes. Some are big, some are medium, some are small, some are homesteads. And within this period, we were able to mobilize a lot of people, a lot of youth, a lot of women in Pada, that is those that I kept as housewives, were able to support their activities.
While fish farmers continue to record considerable gain owing to the state government various intervention program, it is hoped that such gesture will be replicated to further enhance fish production across the state. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Sokoto.
And now look at business news, where the federal government has said it was working to achieve 1.4 million barrels per day for domestic refining of crude oil before the year 2027. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, said the Muhammadu Buhari administration is committed to increasing the country's domestic capacity to reduce the reliance on imports to meet the daily consumption by Nigerians. Silva spoke in Lagos at the ongoing Nigerian Content Midstream and Downstream Oil and Gas Summit, organized by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, in Lagos, themed Maximizing Potential in the Midstream and Downstream Oil and Gas Sector, a Local Content Perspective. The minister, who disclosed that Nigeria has adopted gas as its transition fuel in line with the global energy transition, disclosed that the NCDMB has built partnerships to grow domestic refining capacity. And on the foreign scene, an anti-crime operation in a Rio de Janeiro slum on Tuesday left at least 22 people dead. Officials said a year after the bloodiest ever favela raid in the city's history, a further 7 people were hospitalized. According to health officials, while police said one of the victims was a female bystander felled by a stray bullet. The military police say they came under gunfire as they approached the northern Rio slum of Via Cruzeiro in the early morning hours, with the mission of locating and arresting criminal leaders. The toll doubled from the initial reported 11 deaths as more bodies were uncovered in the aftermath. Police said at least 11 of the dead were suspects. And in sports, the UK government has approved the £4.25 billion takeover of Chelsea by a consortium led by LA Dodgers co-owner Todd Boehly. The London club was put up for sale in March before owner Roman Abramovich was sanctioned over his links to Russian President Vladimir Putin. On Tuesday, the Premier League said the consortium had passed its owners and directors test. Chelsea have been operating under a special government license which expires on May 31st. The government does not want Abramovich to receive any of the proceeds from the sale, which will instead go into a frozen bank account to be donated to charity. Earlier this month, the deal had seemed close to collapse over concerns proceeds will not reach good causes, as promised by Abramovich. Several parties expressed an interest, but Chelsea agreed to sell to the Boehly-led consortium earlier in May. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.